I need to be honest with you. Something bizarre is happening at grocery stores right now that most preppers are completely missing. While everyone is loading their carts with the same overpriced emergency food buckets, there are 11 specific items that people are literally paying double for without realizing it. And here's the crazy part. These same foods are about to vanish from shelves in the next few months, but not for the reasons you think. Number 8 on this list is going to make you angry when you realize how much money you have wasted. And number 3 has tripled in price in just 6 months. But there is still a way to get it cheap if you know where to look. Subscribe right now because this information could save you thousands of dollars in the next 30 days.
Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with. I've done the math for you. I put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact 15 items you can get at Aldi, Walmart, or Costco today to feed your family for 2 weeks. It's 28,000 calories for less than the cost of a takeout pizza. You can grab that shopping list for free at the link in the description so you can stop worrying and start prepping.
Food number 1 is organic peanut butter in glass jars. Okay, this first one sounds simple, but pay attention because this is where most preppers are getting absolutely destroyed on price. Organic peanut butter in glass jars, not the plastic containers, not the conventional stuff, specifically organic in glass. Here is what changed everything for me. I was at Costco 3 months ago, and I noticed organic peanut butter was $8.99 for a big jar. Last week I went back. Same jar, same brand, $16.99. That is almost double in 90 days. Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with. I have done the math for you and put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact 15 items you must keep, which you can buy from any store. It can feed your family for 2 weeks and cost less than takeout. You can grab the list for free at the link in description so you can stop worrying and start prepping. Food number 2 is canned butter from New Zealand. All right, number 2 is something I discovered by accident, and it has completely changed my prepping strategy. Canned butter from New Zealand. Yeah, butter in a can. I know it sounds weird, but stay with me. I was browsing a specialty import store about a year ago and saw these small cans labeled red feather creamery butter. I thought it was a gimmick, but I grabbed 2 cans just out of curiosity. That was the smartest $16 I ever spent. Here is what nobody tells you. This stuff has a shelf life of 10 years unopened, and we are not talking about some weird butter substitute. This is real grass-fed butter from New Zealand dairy farms. When you open a can, it looks and tastes exactly like the butter you buy at the store. But here is where things get really interesting. I just checked prices online. 6 months ago, a 12-ounce can was $7.99. Today, that same can is $14.99 on most websites. Some places are charging $18. Why the jump? New Zealand had massive flooding last year that devastated dairy farms. Production dropped by 30%, and most of that butter gets used domestically or goes to Australia. Very little makes it to the U.S. anymore. I called an importer I know who specializes in New Zealand products. He told me flat out that his next shipment might be his last for the foreseeable future. The New Zealand government is prioritizing domestic food security. Exports are getting cut. Here's the kicker. Most preppers do not even know this product exists. So right now, small import shops and online specialty stores still have stock, but it is disappearing fast. I bought 24 cans 2 months ago at $8.50 each. I just checked that same website. Sold out. Completely gone. Why does canned butter matter? Because in a grid-down scenario, regular butter needs refrigeration. Ghee works great, but it is expensive and harder to bake with. Canned butter gives you the real thing, shelf-stable, ready to use for cooking, baking, or just spreading on bread. I tested this during a week-long power outage last summer. We use canned butter for everything. Pancakes, cornbread, sautéing vegetables. My family could not tell the difference between it and regular butter. If you can find this stuff under $12 a can right now, buy everything they have. In 6 months, you will either pay double or it will not be available at all. Food number 3 is freeze-dried cheese in bulk bags. This one is going to hurt because most of you have probably already overpaid for this. Freeze-dried cheese in bulk bags, not the small pouches, not the shaker cans. I am talking about the 2-pound bulk bags. Here is what happened. 2 years ago, I could buy a 2-pound bag of freeze-dried cheddar cheese for $35. It was a staple in my stockpile. 6 months ago, I went to reorder. Same bag, same brand, $89. I thought it was a mistake. It was not. I started digging into why. Turns out there are only 3 major manufacturers of freeze-dried cheese in the U.S. One of them shut down production last year. The other 2 raised prices because demand from prepper companies skyrocketed. But here is what makes me furious. Those prepper meal bucket companies are buying this stuff in massive bulk at wholesale prices, then repackaging it in tiny pouches and charging you $15 for 4 ounces. You are paying $60 a pound when you could be paying $20 a pound if you buy smart. Here is how I am beating the system. Restaurant supply stores. Most people do not realize you can walk into a restaurant supply store and they sell freeze-dried ingredients in bulk. Last month, I found 2-pound bags of freeze-dried mozzarella for $42, not the $89 I was seeing online. Why? Because restaurants use this stuff for pizza toppings and pasta dishes. It is the same exact product preppers buy, just without the survival marketing markup. But even those prices are climbing. The manager told me their supplier just sent a notice that prices are going up another 20% in April. Here is why freeze-dried cheese is critical. It is one of the few ways to get dairy protein and fat in a shelf-stable form that actually tastes good. You can rehydrate it for mac and cheese, sprinkle it on rice, add it to scrambled eggs, or eat it straight as a snack. 1 2-pound bag gives you the equivalent of about 6 pounds of fresh cheese, and the shelf life is 20-plus years if stored correctly. My advice, if you can find freeze-dried cheese in bulk for under $25 a pound right now, max out your credit card. I am not kidding. This is one of those products that is going to be $50 a pound by the end of the year. Food number 4 is coconut oil in gallon containers. Number 4 is flying under the radar, but not for long. Coconut oil in gallon containers, not the little jars you see at the grocery store. I am talking about the big gallon jugs from wholesale suppliers. Here is what clicked for me. About 8 months ago, I was buying gallon jugs of organic coconut oil for $28. Last month, I tried to reorder. Same exact product, now $52. That is an 85% increase. So I started researching what the heck was going on. Turns out there's a massive coconut shortage happening in Southeast Asia right now. Typhoons destroyed huge portions of coconut plantations in the Philippines. It takes 7 years for a new coconut tree to start producing, and India, the other major producer, is keeping most of their coconut products domestic because of their own food security concerns. Translation: the coconut oil supply is about to get way worse before it gets better. But here is why this is devastating for preppers. Coconut oil is one of the only plant-based fats that is solid at room temperature and has an indefinite shelf life. Olive oil goes rancid. Vegetable oil breaks down. But coconut oil, if stored properly, lasts forever. I have coconut oil in my stockpile that is 5 years old. I tested it last month. Still perfect. No off smell, no weird taste. Completely fine. The reason is that coconut oil is mostly saturated fat, which is incredibly stable. It does not oxidize like other oils. Here is the move most people are missing. Small-scale importers who bought coconut oil a year ago are still selling at old prices because they are moving old inventory. I found a family-owned online shop last week that had gallon jugs for $32. I bought 6 of them. I checked back 3 days later. Sold out. These deals are disappearing in real time. Also, ethnic grocery stores, especially Indian and Filipino markets, still have reasonable prices because they bought stock months ago. But once that inventory runs out, prices are going to jump hard. For storage, keep coconut oil in the original container in a cool, dark place. It will solidify below 76 degrees. That is normal. Just scoop out what you need. Each gallon gives you about 30,000 calories. For cooking, for making soap, for skin care in a survival situation, This stuff is liquid gold. If you see coconut oil in gallon jugs for under $40 right now, do not walk, run, and buy as much as you can carry. Food number 5 is nutritional yeast in 2-pound bags. Okay, number 5 is one most preppers have never even heard of, but once you understand what is happening, you are going to be scrambling. Nutritional yeast in 2-pound bags. A year ago, a 2-pound bag cost $18. Today, same bag, $34. Some places are charging $40. Here is what is going on. Nutritional yeast is made from a specific strain of yeast grown on molasses. There are only a handful of facilities in the world that produce food-grade nutritional yeast. One of the biggest producers in Europe shut down because energy costs made production unprofitable. Natural gas prices in Europe went insane, and running the fermentation tanks became too expensive. Now the remaining producers cannot keep up with demand. And demand is exploding because plant-based diets are growing fast. Nutritional yeast is a staple for vegans. But here is why preppers should care. This stuff is a complete protein. It has all 9 essential amino acids. 2 tablespoons give you 8 grams of protein plus massive amounts of B vitamins, including B12, which is almost impossible to get from plant-based storage foods. In a long-term grid-down situation where meat is unavailable, nutritional yeast becomes absolutely critical for preventing deficiencies. I learned this from a survivalist who spent a year eating only stored food as an experiment. By month 4, he was exhausted, brain fog, mood swings. He added nutritional yeast to his meals, and within 2 weeks, he felt normal again. The B vitamins made all the difference. Here's the insider move. Bulk food co-ops. Places like Azure Standard or local buying clubs. They sell nutritional yeast in bulk at way better prices in retail. I just ordered a 5-pound bag for $45 through a co-op. That same amount at Whole Foods would cost $85. But even those co-op prices are rising. My rep told me their supplier is raising prices 25% next quarter. For storage, transfer it from the bag into mason jars with tight lids. Keep it in a cool, dark pantry. It will last 2 years easily, sometimes longer. The flavor is nutty and cheesy. You can sprinkle it on popcorn, stir it into soups, mix it into rice. It makes bland survival food actually taste good while boosting nutrition. If you can find 2-pound bags under $25 right now, stock up. This is one of those items that is quietly disappearing, and most people will not notice until it's too late. Food number 6 is premium canned salmon. Number 6 is hitting different right now, and most preppers are completely unaware. Premium canned salmon, specifically wild-caught Alaskan salmon in BPA-free cans. I am not talking about the cheap pink salmon. I mean the red sockeye or coho. A year ago, a 6-ounce can of wild sockeye was $3.50. Today, that same can is $6.99, sometimes $7.50. Here is what is driving this. Alaska just had one of the worst salmon runs in recorded history. Climate change is warming ocean waters, and salmon are not returning to spawn in the numbers they used to. Fisheries that normally catch millions of salmon are seeing 40% declines. And it is not just one bad year. This has been a downward trend for 5 years straight. Here is why this is brutal for preppers. Canned salmon is one of the only shelf-stable sources of omega-3 fatty acids. Your brain needs omega-3s to function. Your heart needs them. Your immune system needs them. Most prepper foods have 0 omega-3s. Rice, beans, wheat, none of them have it. Without omega-3s, you start experiencing cognitive decline, depression, and inflammation. I saw this firsthand during a 30-day challenge where I ate only my stockpile food. By week 3, I was foggy, irritable, and my joints ached. I added canned salmon twice a week, and the difference was night and day. But here's the problem. At $7 a can, most people cannot afford to stock up. So here's the hack. Discount grocery outlets like Grocery Outlet or grocery clearance stores. They get overstock and closeouts. Last month, I found wild-caught salmon for $3.99 a can because the packaging was being discontinued. Same fish, old label. I bought 48 cans. Also, watch Costco and Sam's Club. They occasionally run deep sales on multipacks. I got a 12-pack for $38 a few months ago. That is $3.16 per can. But those sales are getting rarer. For storage, canned salmon last 5 years easily, often longer. I have eaten cans that were 7 years old with no issues. Each can gives you about 40 grams of protein and a huge dose of omega-3s. If you see wild-caught salmon under $5 can right now, buy as much as your budget allows. This is not going to get cheaper. Food number 7 is organic rolled oats in 25-pound bags. All right, number 7 is a staple most preppers think they understand, but they are getting completely ripped off. Organic rolled oats in 25-pound bags. Last year, I was buying 25-pound bags for $22. Last month, I tried to reorder. Same bag, now $41. That is almost double. Here is what is happening. Organic oat farming has been hit hard by droughts in the northern plain states where most oats are grown. North Dakota, Montana, and Canada are the major producers. And the last 2 growing seasons have been terrible. Yields are down, and farmers are switching to more profitable crops like wheat or soybeans. Less oat production means higher prices. But here's the real issue. Most preppers are buying those little canisters of oats at the grocery store for $5, thinking they are getting a deal. That is $5 for 18 ounces. Do the math. That is over $4 per pound. Meanwhile, if you buy in bulk, you should be paying under $2 per pound. Here's where to find deals. Feed stores. Yeah, the places that sell animal feed. They carry food-grade rolled oats in 50-pound bags for $30 to $35. Same exact oats, just sold in bulk for farm use. Make sure the label says food grade or human consumption. I have been buying from feed stores for 3 years. The quality is identical to what you get at Whole Foods, but a fraction of the cost. Another option is restaurant supply stores or online bulk retailers like Honeyville or Augusun Farms. Just watch the prices closely. Some of them are jacking prices up too. For storage, transfer oats into food-grade buckets with Gamma Seal lids. Toss in an oxygen absorber. Stored this way, oats last 30 years. Each 25-pound bag gives you about 42,000 calories. That is 21 days of food for one person. And oats are incredibly versatile. Oatmeal for breakfast. Grind them into flour for baking. Use them in soups to thicken, or even make oat milk. If you can find organic rolled oats in bulk for under $2 per pound, buy everything you can. Prices are only going up from here. Food number 8 is real maple syrup in gallon jugs. This one is going to make you angry when you see what is happening. Real maple syrup in gallon jugs, not the fake pancake syrup. I am talking about 100% pure maple syrup from trees. 2 years ago, a gallon of real maple syrup cost $45 to $50. Today, you are looking at $80 to $90 for the same gallon. Some places are charging over $100. Here is what happened. Maple syrup production depends on very specific weather conditions. You need freezing nights and warm days in early spring for sap to flow. Climate change is making those conditions less predictable. Some years, the season is too short. Other years, it does not happen at all. Last year, Vermont and Quebec had a terrible season. Production dropped 30%, and it is not bouncing back. But here is what makes this critical for preppers. Sugar is going to be one of the first things to disappear in a real collapse. And real maple syrup is not just sugar. It has minerals like manganese and zinc, plus antioxidants. It is a whole food that lasts forever if stored correctly. I have a jug of maple syrup that is 6 years old. I opened it last week. Still perfect. Maple syrup does not spoil because of its high sugar content and low moisture. Bacteria cannot grow in it. Here is the move. Right now, small-scale maple producers are selling direct to consumers at better prices than retail stores. I found a family farm in Vermont selling gallons for $65 shipped. That is $20 cheaper than my local store. Search for maple syrup farms in Vermont, New Hampshire, or Quebec. Many of them have websites and will ship. Also, check Costco in late winter. They sometimes have gallon jugs for $50 to $60. but that window is closing. For storage, keep it in the original container in a cool, dark place. If mold ever forms on top, just skim it off and boil the syrup for a minute. It is fine. Each gallon has about 10,000 calories. Use it for sweetening oatmeal, baking, making candy, or even as a morale booster when times are tough. If you can find real maple syrup for under $70 a gallon right now, grab it. This is only getting more expensive and harder to find. Food number 9 is ghee in 64-ounce containers. Number 9 is something I've been watching closely, and the price movement is insane. Ghee in 64-ounce containers, not the little jars, the big half-gallon tubs. A year ago, I was buying 64-ounce containers of grass-fed ghee for $35. Last week, I checked. Same brand, now $68. Some brands are over $70. Here's what is going on. Ghee comes from butter, and butter comes from milk. Dairy prices are skyrocketing because feed costs for cows have gone up. Corn and hay prices are up 40% because of droughts and supply chain issues. Dairy farmers are either raising prices or going out of business. On top of that, grass-fed dairy is a small niche market. There are only a few producers, and they cannot scale up quickly. Demand is increasing, supply is not, and prices are exploding. Here is why this is a disaster for preppers. Ghee is the only fat that is truly shelf-stable at room temperature indefinitely. Coconut oil is great, but ghee has a richer flavor and is better for high-heat cooking. Plus, ghee has fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. Your body needs those for immune function and bone health. Most prepper foods do not have fat-soluble vitamins. Here is the strategy. Indian grocery stores. Ghee is a staple in Indian cooking, and Indian markets sell in bulk at better prices. I found a 4-pound tub for $48 last month at a local Indian market. That is $12 a pound, way better than the $17 a pound I was seeing online. But even those prices are climbing. The owner told me his distributor is raising prices 15% next month. For storage, ghee is brain dead simple. Keep it in the original container at room temperature. It does not need refrigeration, ever. It will last decades. Each 64-ounce container gives you about 14,000 calories. Use it for cooking, baking, or just adding to rice for extra calories and flavor. If you can find ghee in large containers for under $15 a pound right now, stock up. This is becoming a luxury item fast. Food number 10 is dried lentils in 20-pound bags. All right. Number 10 is one of those items everyone thinks is stable, but it is quietly becoming a problem. Dried lentils in 20-pound bags. Last year, I was buying 20-pound bags of lentils for $18. A few weeks ago, I tried to reorder. Same bag, now $34. That is almost double. Here is what is happening. Lentils are grown primarily in Canada, India, and the northern U.S. Canada had a severe drought 2 years in a row. Lentil production dropped by nearly 50%. India, which normally exports millions of tons, banned lentil exports last year to keep domestic prices stable. That left the U.S. market scrambling. Less supply, same demand, prices skyrocket. But here's why lentils are critical for preppers. They cook faster than beans. They're easy to digest, and they have nearly the same protein content. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you 18 grams of protein plus tons of fiber and iron. And unlike beans, you do not need to soak lentils overnight. You can go from dry lentils to a cooked meal in 30 minutes. In a bug-out situation or when you're low on fuel, that matters. Here's where to find deals. Ethnic grocery stores, especially Indian or Middle Eastern markets. Lentils are a staple in those cuisines, so they buy in bulk and sell at better prices. I found 20-pound bags of red lentils for $24 at a local Indian market last month. Also, check online bulk retailers like Azure Standard or Webstron Store. Sometimes they have deals if you buy multiple bags. For storage, transfer lentils into food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. They will last 20 to 30 years. Each 20-pound bag gives you about 31,000 calories. That is over 2 weeks of food for one person. Plus, lentils come in different varieties: red, green, brown, black. Each has a slightly different flavor and texture. Stock a variety to avoid food fatigue. If you can find lentils in bulk for under $2 per pound right now, buy as much as you can. This is one of those foods that is essential and getting way more expensive. Food number 11 is raw honey in 5-pound buckets. Number 11 is the one that actually makes me furious because of how fast prices are moving. Raw honey in 5-pound buckets. 2 years ago, I was buying 5-pound buckets of raw, unfiltered honey for $25. Last month, I looked online. Same type of honey, now $52. Some places want $60. Here is what is happening. Bee populations are collapsing worldwide. Colony collapse disorder, pesticides, habitat loss, it is all hitting at once. Beekeepers are losing 30 to 40% of their hives every year. Less bees mean less honey. On top of that, a lot of cheap honey on the market is actually fake. It is cut with corn syrup or rice syrup and imported from China. Real, raw honey from local beekeepers is becoming rare and expensive. But here's why raw honey is non-negotiable for preppers. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still edible. It has natural antibacterial properties. It is a powerful energy source and has medicinal uses for wound care and sore throats. Plus, raw honey has enzymes and antioxidants that processed honey does not. Here is the move. Find local beekeepers. Go to farmers markets or search online for beekeepers in your area. Many of them sell direct and charge way less than retail stores. I found a beekeeper 20 miles from me selling 5-pound buckets for $40. That is $12 cheaper than online prices. Also buy in fall. That is when beekeepers harvest and have the most inventory. Prices are lowest then. For storage, keep honey in the original bucket with the lid tight. Store it at room temperature. If it crystallizes, that is normal. Just warm it gently, and it will liquefy again. Each 5-pound bucket has about 11,000 calories. Use it for sweetening, baking, or as a natural medicine. If you can find raw honey for under $10 a pound right now, buy as much as you can afford. This is one of the most versatile and long-lasting foods you can store, and it is disappearing fast. Okay, here's the reality. Every single one of these 11 foods has doubled in price or is about to vanish from shelves entirely. Most preppers are going to miss this window and end up paying twice as much or not being able to find these items at all. Meanwhile, you now have the exact playbook to stock up smart before it's too late. If this information helped you, smash that like button and subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Next week, I am revealing the 5 prepping mistakes that will get you killed in the first 72 hours of collapse. And number 3 is something almost everyone gets wrong. You do not want to miss that.